Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brandon Croucher, and I am blessed to be sitting directly across from the world, directly one seat a world away from Miss Elsa. Good morning, the queen of the Delight Network. And we're back with Dr. Noah. Oops, wrong button. Let's put Dr. Noah right there. Noah, how are you today, sir?
I'm great. How are you all?
Wonderful. Oh, go ahead, Elsa. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You saying it.
I'm good, and I just want to say I love your shirt.
Yes, green, baby. That's it. Yes, we're excited.
Now, I have to ask because I don't want to be fooled in the background. Is that actually your background, or is that a green screen?
That is all. This is an actual background. These are my books that I've written here. These are some of my books in 18 different languages that I published. These are some books that I've helped my clients publish. So I published 15 books so far. And I'm the only author who's been published by Hay House, HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, Mind Valley, Nightingale, Conant, and the Chicken Soup for the Soul publisher. No other author on this planet or in history has ever done that. So yes, it's a real background, no green screen here.
I actually I read your bio earlier than we usually do, and I had to pull in the part about the chicken soup. And Ilsa's in South Africa, and she didn't know what Chicken Soup for the Soul was. And I was like, oh, hold on, let me read you a poem. And I read her one of my favorite poems from Chicken Soup. And the audience liked it and all that too. But which one of these publications was the most honorable? I mean, they're all high up there. But, like, which one did you, when you got that note that you're going to, that letter, that email, whatever it may be, saying you were going to be published in theirs, which one was the one that made you feel like, holy hell, yes, and like you had to celebrate?
Well, of course, they're all exciting. I mean, when you get a book deal, it's very exciting as an author. I wanted to be a writer since I was a little kid, since I was about 5 years old. I wanted to be a writer and an author. And so when I got my first publishing deal from the Chicken Soup publisher in 1998, I, was, of course, over the moon, so excited. Jack Canfield, who you see our picture right there, he actually wrote the foreword for one of my books, holding the book called The Secret Code of Success. But he's the person that actually discovered me back in 1998 and recommended me to the Chicken Soup people. So that was awesome. And then when I got my six-figure book deal from HarperCollins, and the first figure was not a one, by the way, that was in 2008. So 10 years later, I actually got my biggest book deal, again, a six-figure book deal from HarperCollins. So, and then when I got my book deal from Hay House here, which is my book of Afformations, that I had a dream for many, many years to be a Hay House author. So literally, I basically just checked every box that an author could check. And it's really been amazing.
That is so amazing. You said you were talking about your book Afformations. Why Afformations and not Affirmations? Because I'm familiar with
Yes, absolutely. So, So here's that book of, as you can see a little clearer, the book of Afformations, not Affirmations. Okay, so the word is Afformations. This is the word that I invented. In fact, you can go to afformations.com right there, afformations.com. And all you have to remember is put an O there instead of an I. So if anybody here who's ever read a self-help book, you know that in every self-help book ever published, they say use affirmations, right? What's an affirmation? It's a statement of something you want to be true. So like when I'm doing keynote speeches for my clients, when I'm doing virtual trainings or private workshops for my clients all around the world, one of the things I like to do is have everybody say these affirmations. In fact, I like to play a little game. I say, all right, everybody, we're gonna do what all the gurus told us to do, right? All the gurus said you'd use these affirmations, right? So everybody say, I am rich. And everybody goes, I am rich. You know what happens next? Everybody starts laughing. And I go, what are you laughing at? And they go, well, I'm not rich. And I say, but you just said you were. And they go, yeah, but I don't believe it. See, now that's the problem, isn't it? With the old way of affirmations, all the gurus say the same thing. You just say these statements and eventually you'll believe it. But for millions of us, that didn't work at all. So in 1997, I was actually in the shower. I call it the shower that changed everything. I talk about that in my books, the shower that changed everything. And I realized that we have been taught something that's not right. And that is that if you want to change your life, you change your statements. Now, for some people that worked, but for millions of us, it didn't work at all. So I realized, Why? Because the human mind responds automatically to questions. For example, if I were to ask you, why is the sky blue? What does your brain do? It immediately starts to search for the answer, right? So I said, why are we going around making statements that we don't believe when the human mind responds automatically to something even more powerful, the power of questions? And so instead of saying something like, I am rich, to which your brain goes, yeah, right. What I invented was this process or this methodology, this method of Afformations, in which you would say, why am I so rich? Now, when you ask that question, what immediately starts to happen in your brain? You start to search for the answer, right? So what I'm teaching, and one of the reasons that I've helped my clients make so much money, lose weight, find love, save their marriages, I mean, the results are just incredible, is because I'm teaching about the law of sowing and reaping. As you sow, so shall you reap. Now, this is nothing new. It's been taught for centuries, but what are we sowing? We're sowing seeds of thought. And yet, what are most people doing? Sowing lousy thought seeds. Why am I so stupid? Why am I so fat? Why isn't my business growing? Why is there more month left at the end of the money, right? And when you ask lousy questions, what do you get? You get lousy answers. So using my Afformations method, we've helped people to, literally add 6 and 7 figures to their business, lose weight, find love. But I do want people to realize that Afformations, as powerful and life-changing as it is just the first step of what we call my rapid abundance programming method, or RAP for short. And yes, I do rap. If you go on YouTube and search Noah St. John rap, I do rap. But anyway, RAP is short for rapid abundance programming. And so that is the first stage, my Afformations method. So the point that I want to get across to everyone is, yes, Afformations right here. Again, here, afformations.com. You can go there, check it out. But it's the first stage. So it's like the foundation of your house. If you want to buy a new house, right, you don't drive around the neighborhood and go, wow, look at all those nice foundations. You go, wow, look at the nice houses, right? But if you don't have the foundation, you can't build your house. So it's the foundation, and then there's more, but that's really the whole process of Afformation.
So Noah, have you always been the positive one? Like growing up in school, were you the one that like the class was getting homework and you're like, guys, it's okay. This just means we have school tomorrow. We're getting smarter. And like everybody wanted to beat you up, because I know that feeling. I understand. Like, I have you always been that positive? And then can you think of what was the initial one that helped you break into making sure you stayed positive? Because I say that as someone who I'm known for being positive. My whole brand, as you saw in my commercial, is about finding your delight in life. And it's one of these things where that's a lot of challenges for a lot of people, even the individual that created it. You know what I mean? How did you find it and then keep going with it? Unless you were just born with it, and then I'm going to be like, well, that sucks.
No, not at all. No, I was depressed from really age 7 on. In fact, at the age of 25, I decided to commit suicide. So I was suicidal at age 25. And so because I had been reading self-help books, so just to take you back a little bit, I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood. And I know that's a total cliche, but it's totally true. I grew up in a little town called Kennebunkport, Maine, which happens to be one of the wealthiest communities in New England. But my family was dirt poor. And I mean that literally, because we lived at the bottom of a dirt road in a drafty, unfinished house that my parents ended up losing to foreclosure. So from a very young age, I was painfully exposed to the gap, the chasm between the haves and the have-nots. The haves was everyone else in the community. The have-nots was my family. So you hear these speakers get on stage all the time, right? And they say, well, we were poor, but we were happy. We didn't know we were poor. Well, in my family, we freaking knew we were poor, because my mother, bless her heart, reminded us every day that we were poor and miserable. So no, it wasn't happy. It sucked. And so from a very young age, I hated that life of poverty and fear and lack and not enoughness. That's what I grew up with in my family. But I saw that right down the street, there's great wealth and abundance. So I said, how the heck do I get from here to there? And so I didn't know what else to do. So being the nerdiest nerd in the industry, that's what they call me. They call me the Sheldon Cooper of self-help, because I'm such a nerd. And that's why I have all these books back here, because I'm the nerdiest nerd. But anyway, I mean, I've always been this way. So I just did the only thing that a nerd would do, which is go to the library. I just spent all my time in the library reading books on self-help, Dale Carnegie, Napoleon Hill, all the classics. And yet I just couldn't seem to get ahead. So at the age of 25, I decided to commit suicide. Again, I tell that story in my books and so on. But my point is that I didn't know why I was here on the earth. So I went on a spiritual journey to find, why am I here? My life was spared. I didn't know why. So why am I here? What is my purpose? And then finally in 1997, when I had the epiphany that changed my life, the shower that changed everything. And then I also had another epiphany when I realized why so many smart, creative, talented people are holding themselves back from the level of success that they're capable of. And that's when I discovered and named the condition that I call success anorexia. Success anorexia is actually a condition that no one had ever talked about before. And I'm the discoverer of that, if you will. And that's what, really all these books books that I've written here are really about this one subject. Why so many smart, creative, talented people are, number one, holding themselves back from success, and number two, why so many highly successful people are so unhappy. And so that's really why not only have I helped so many people make so much money, but I've also helped people who are successful to, literally find their purpose, become happy, have that, instead of being rich and miserable, become rich and happy. And I know that sounds kind of weird to some people. I was like, well, how could you be rich and miserable? Believe me, there's a lot of them. So anyway, my point is, to answer your question, no, I've not always been this way, but now that I literally found the answer, the key that really unlocked that secret that I was looking for all those years ago.
It obviously wasn't willpower, because you say willpower is the worst way to change a habit. Why do you say that?
Yes, well, willpower, numerous scientific studies have shown that willpower is a very limited resource. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying it doesn't work over the long term. Now, let me give you an example. So let's say you're in your house right now, for everyone watching and listening to this program. So let's say you're in your home, right? And you're in your kitchen, right? And somebody comes in and they bake a plate of chocolate chip cookies, and they just came out of the oven. You can smell the chocolate chip cookies. You can, the smell is wafting there. You walk by them. They look delicious. And then they say to you, all right, now don't have a chocolate chip cookie. Whatever you do, don't eat one of those. Now, don't eat a cookie. Don't eat a cookie. Now, what are you going to do? As soon as they leave the room, you're going to eat a cookie, and you'll probably eat 10 of them, right? I mean, that's what we're going to do. I mean, because that's human nature, isn't it? So literally, we humans don't like to be told that we can't do something. This is why most diets fail, just as an example, because they're literally telling you, don't eat that, don't eat that, don't eat that. And you're like, I want that, right? And it's the same thing, right? So when we're trying to change a habit, it is the worst way to change a habit. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying it doesn't work long term. It can only work really for a very short amount of time. And so that's why, in my programs, in my books, like, for example, this is a book that your audience can actually get for free. It's called Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. And you can get this at sendmeabooknoah.com. Very easy to remember. Sendmeabooknoah.com, and I will send you a book. So the book is free. We just ask you to cover the shipping. Again, the book is called Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. The website, sendmeabooknoah.com, and it's free. Just cover the shipping. Anyway, so what I show in that book and in my other online programs and coaching is what a habit actually is. So once you understand what a habit actually is, the 5 stages of a habit, which is the cue, routine, the reward, the craving, and the belief. Once you understand those stages, then you go, oh, I don't have to use willpower. I'll give you another example. I was told by someone who I can't call a friend, but let's just call him a colleague. He said, Noah, you need to lose about 25 pounds. Now, I thought that was kind of mean, really. But I'm like, really? So I was offended at first, angry, but then I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what? He's sort of right. I don't think 25 pounds. I think that's a little excessive, but I think I could lose a few pounds, a few lbs there, and, get back in shape. Because actually I just moved into this house and I've been really enjoying it and, just kind of sitting around, not doing any exercising at all. So I realized that, I could take that and either get angry or get offended, or I could use that as fuel. And that's what I decided to do. So now when I'm exercising, that is my fuel. That's what I call my why-to. My why-to is to say, listen, it's not because what this guy said, it's because I made a decision that I want to look better. I want to feel better. I want to have those 6-pack abs like I used to. Again, I just kind of let it go. And of course, my wife is excited. She loves seeing the new body, and that gives me more energy. So that, you see what I mean? That is the kind of thing that is not willpower. Because do I like exercising? Not really, but I like the effects of it. I like the results of it. And so that's what I focus on. That's just a simple example of something you can do to change a habit very quickly and frankly, very easily.
See, I actually am a Browns fan, and I bet the audience all the time that if the Browns win, the point differential. So if the Browns win, the audience has to do 22 push-ups for every point the Browns win by. Unfortunately, since we've started doing this betting, the Browns have lost the last 2 in a row. And today I have to do this week 506 push-ups on air. Right. I'm at 60 today. So if you see me just drop down when you're answering a question, know that I'm just getting my next round of 20 push-ups in. It's not me being rude. It's me trying to make sure I live up to the bet. But you mentioned Napoleon Hill. Yeah. Everybody jumps to his book, Think and Grow Rich. Wait, no, that's rich. Nope, that isn't Napoleon Hill.
Oh, you're right.
I was thinking of the other one, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That went through my head right when I said it. But Think and Grow Rich. Have you read Outwitting the Devil?
No, I have not. No.
I honestly, it's one of his books, and it was locked up for decades. His family, and then when his family passed away, they found it in the safe, and they published it in 2011. And it's exactly what you're talking about, and the devil inside, and talking to you, ask the devil questions, to outwit the devil. So I love how you didn't even read that book, and you're like, guys, let me teach you something. That's phenomenal. So I want to know, with you being in, your website has celebrities. You've been all over the world and all that. You've seen great things. And you've seen people with wealth. You've seen people in poor. Why care for humanity during such a horrible time in society? And I don't mean that as a bad way. I mean that as in, like, there's a lot of anger out there. There's a lot of animosity and confusion. And you're still putting out, guys, believe in yourself. See that there's a difference and change. Like see who you can, the best you could be. Why do that during such an anxious time?
Well, when is a better time to do it than such an anxious time? I mean, when would there be a better time? This is the time that humanity needs us more than ever. So when I was a kid growing up, my favorite series was Cosmos with Carl Sagan. I mean, I watched that show. I have it on DVD. That was my favorite show growing up. And the last episode of that series, that famous series, Cosmos, starring Carl Sagan, was Who Speaks for Earth. Now, it's pretty obvious that we humans, sadly, or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, we're it. I mean, this is it for Earth. Okay, we are it. We are the last stand. And as far as we know, this is it for the universe. This is the only place, this planet Earth, this very fragile planet Earth, that life can exist or does exist. And certainly for us humans, this is it for us. All right. Elon Musk is not going to save us, guys. Not happening. Okay. As great as he is, he's not saving us. He's a great guy, but no. Mars is about 200 years out. Let's just be blunt. It's about 200 years out. So my point is, I know that I won't be here, however long I'm here. I could die tomorrow. I could be here another 50 years. Nobody knows. But for the time that I'm here on Earth, my mission, my job, my why to is to spread positivity, love, how to change your life using my rapid abundance programming formula. Now, that's my thing. It's not like that's the only thing. But is it a great thing? Yeah. Yes. Why do I know that? Yes. Because of the results that we've had, as you just stated. Look at all the testimonials. Look at all the case studies from people like Gary Vee, Jenny McCarthy, Jack Canfield, John Assaraf, Neil Donald Walsh, Joe Vitale. I mean, everybody in The Secret times 100. All right, so times 1,000. Anyway, so the point is, I know why I'm here, and so I get to do what I do every day. The life of an entrepreneur is a roller coaster, right? Just when you think you've got it figured out, you're like, yeah, this is awesome, and and then it's like you just don't know, right? So yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, there it is. Yes, I've been quite a few places. As you can see.
That's the first thing I did is when I was scrolling, I'm like, oh my God. So you were in Beachbody. Is that when you first started being like, all right, I got to work out? Was that one of your friends that made you feel like you got to work out and lose the weight?
No. They were very nice. I've done training for, because Beachbody has also a network marketing arm to it. So I've done training for their network marketing arm.
Okay.
No, that wasn't that person. No, they were very nice.
That was more of a joke than anything.
I know. I just want to be clear. It wasn't them.
You're good. Now, I have to ask, because this is fun for me. You said we're not going to make it to Mars. Would you go to Mars if you got offered the chance?
No, I wouldn't. That's a one-way trip. You ain't coming back. And no, I just bought this 6,000 square foot mansion. So we call it Success Manor. So no, I'm going to enjoy this right here. No, I would not go to Mars.
I love the name. I love the name. All right, Elsa, go ahead. Your question. I'm going to do my push-ups and get out of the way.
I love that you said I'm not going to Mars because it's a one-way trip. I'm also not very keen on going to Mars. Can we just not save Earth and I can stay here? I watched one of your videos, or like a snippet that they had, and I saw a sentence on there that really grabbed my eye because it makes me think of a lot of my relationship that I had with my husband. But it says money is a big issue in most relationships. How can couples steer away from that if that is a problem that constantly comes up?
Well, you can't steer away from it. You have to steer into it. It's like a skid, right? In a skid, if you steer away, you're going to just crash. You got to steer into it. And what I mean by that is the number one thing that, the number one cause of divorce in the United States is disagreements about money. That shouldn't be any surprise to anybody who's ever been in a relationship or currently in a relationship, right? And one of the reasons for that, of course, is because money, number one, is a very emotional issue. Yes, send me a book, noah.com. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. And so the point is that money, we have different relationships to money, and these are what I call the different money archetypes, okay, or money styles, if you want. So there's the spender, the saver, the avoider, and the monk. Spender, saver, avoider, monk. So the spender spends money, the saver saves money, the avoider avoids it, meaning like let all the bills pile up and it'll somehow magically take care of itself, which of course it doesn't. And then the monk is the type of person that just says, oh, I'm above money, money's dirty, I don't even want to talk about it. It'll all just magically take care of itself, right? My father is a monk, which is funny. Not an actual monk. He's a money monk. And so he never even cared about money. And he's an absolute, literally a creative genius. And yet he never cared about money, still doesn't care about today. And so the point is, what the disagreements tend to be about, Ilsa, to answer your question, the disagreements tend to be because we are coming at money from our different paradigms. All right. So in other words, imagine if you have a spender who is married to a saver. Insert argument here. I mean, every time you've got money, you've got an argument. Thank God I married a saver. I'm a saver. We both hate spending money. So it's beautiful. I mean, we can't stand spending. We just save. And that means what? We've got money. Yay. So anyway, I'm just saying that's a big, big thing. So, it's not like, I mean, so far, I've never seen that you can change a person. In other words, if somebody tried to make me a spender, just to give an example, no, I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to become a spender. Not that I don't enjoy spending. I love spending money. I love it. But I mean, at the end of the day, if I get $10,000 or $100,000 that comes in, I'm saving that or I'm investing it. I'm not just going to go out and go crazy with it. So again, the point is you've got to have those honest and sometimes painful, raw discussions that and just find some kind of agreement, which is a lot easier said than done. Sometimes you need to bring in, a coach, a mentor. Sometimes you need to bring in an objective third party, which I've done many times with my married couple clients, and you got a spender and a saver, et cetera. And, the heads are butting and and they're on the edge of divorce. And, sometimes they'll bring me in and I'm able to at least mediate, in those instances.
With that being said, where are you in Northeast Ohio? I read your bio. It says you're in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah, I'm 8 minutes from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is right down the street. So 1 week out of the year, I live in the coolest city in America because we have all the all the pros. Eli Manning was just here, and
Yep.
Terry Bradshaw, and all the big guys at the Hall of Fame. In fact, my wife is a massage therapist, and she's actually worked on some of the Hall of Famers, in the past. But yeah, that's we live right here in North Canton, Ohio, home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I only ask because I actually live in Northeast Ohio as well. I'm up Menor Painesville area, but I'm moving down towards the Novelty area, so going to be a lot closer to you and all that.
Cool.
I'm going to have to take you out to lunch one day just to get to hang out. Come down
That'd be
to
awesome.
Canton.
Love it. Well, when you said the Browns, I kind of guessed. So yeah.
Just a hunch. I've moved out of the state 3 times, and I always end up coming back. There's something about this city. I love my city very much here. Akron Canton area is amazing. You guys have a lot of growth happening. I've done a couple events down there with the city, so love what you're doing. Love that you picked that area. It's an up and coming area. So yeah. I just had to ask because of the closeness of everything.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. So writing your books, you've always wanted to write a book, you said, since you were 7 years old. Did you have any books that were a challenge for you to write? Like it became hard to write because maybe it was too meaningful to you. It became close to you, or maybe it just didn't come out the way you wanted. Have you ever had those struggles, and how did you get through it?
No, I've never had a struggle writing a book, but I will tell you a funny story. When I had, as I told you, I wanted to be an author, but specifically as I grew older, I wanted to be a self-help author. My mentor in this world was Stephen Covey. Now, I did actually get to talk to him on the phone in 1996. Of course, he passed away in 2012, but I did get to speak to him. He's an amazing person, just an incredible man. And so my dream was to be a Hay House author and a Nightingale Conant author, because I grew up, listening to Nightingale Conant books, audios, which some of you younger people probably have never heard of them. But anyway, they were the name in self-help back in the day. And then Louise Hay, of course, wrote You Can Heal Your Life. So those were the two that I wanted to. Well, just as it turns out, as luck would have it, or as fate would have it, I actually got those two contracts back to back with Nightingale Conant and Hay House. And I was so excited. I was literally over the moon. I checked both of those boxes. But then I realized after I came down from my, excitement, that I had to write those two books in 90 days. In other words, because they came back to back, they came so close, I had to write two books in 90 days. So I said to my wife, honey, I got to lock myself in my office for about the next 89 days. You're not going to see me, just put some food under the door, or just send me some food sometimes. And I'm just I got to write two books in 90 days. Well, I did it. I was able to write two books in 90 days, which was kind of amazing. I don't recommend that, by the way, because it was hard. But what that proves to me is that when people say to me, no, I want to write a book, or I want to do an online program, or I want to start my business, or I want to whatever, but I don't have the time, I always say, bullshit. Of course you have time. What you don't have is focus. And the reason you don't have focus is because you don't have a why to. This is what I've been teaching for 25 years. Once you find your why to, you find so one of the phrases that I'm known for is, when you find the why, you find the way. When you find the why, you find the way. I'll give you another example of that. Back in 2006, I had been in a very, very destructive, very abusive relationship. And I stayed in that relationship for 4.5 years, which was really dumb, very, very stupid. But I didn't have any belief in myself. I was very down on myself during that time frame. Anyway, when I got out of that relationship, I was $40,000 in debt, and I ended up working out of my parents' basement. I had to move back in with my parents. And I was at the age of 40. And that was really, really awful. That was humiliating. It was embarrassing. It was terrible. And I said, what am I going to do to get out of this lousy situation? And I realized that if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. So that's when I realized that I had to hire my first real business coach. Because prior to that, I was like piecemealing it together, and I had never really hired a business coach. I was doing it all by myself, and it didn't work. And so I realized I've got to hire a business coach. And that business coach was very, very expensive. And I was $40,000 in debt. But you know what? I found the way because I had the why. When you find the why, you find the way. And after that, that's when my whole life changed. And that's when I, got out of debt, became 100% debt free. I moved here to Ohio in 2007, and I met my beautiful wife here. I actually became a best-selling author for the first time. I took us on a honeymoon to the Caribbean and Barbados. So I literally went from basement, the bestseller, to Barbados in 24 months, using the system that I now teach to my clients. And so the lesson for everyone watching and listening is, when you find the why, you find the way.
You literally just rambled my whole life in front of me, leaving a relationship, being 40, not having a job. Why am I doing this? Because I want to help people with my experiences that I went through. So I found the how, or the why, and I'm busy working on the how. But I read some, sorry, my English leaves me every now and then I just have to focus my mind. That's what I wanted to ask. How did you keep yourself focused and in a room for, let's say, 89 days to write those two books? Because somewhere along the way you must have gone, what have I gotten myself into?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the funny thing, is I had these written signed contracts, and I didn't want to be in breach of contract. And so what that was an outside force. Okay. So for everyone watching, the lesson is this: when you are trying to reach your goals, right, there are two forces at work. There's the driving force of our desire and the restraining force of fear. Okay. Now, I want you, and this is what I do with my clients, it's like driving a car. All right. So if you're in your car, you have the driving force of your foot on the gas and the restraining force of your foot on the brake, right? Those are the two forces at work in your car. So I want you to imagine that you have a destination. All right. So let's just say you want to go from your home down the street to the grocery store. All right. So here's what you don't do. You don't get in your car, drive to the grocery store, then go to the grocery store, walk around for an hour, leave, and come home. That wouldn't make any sense, would it? That would be like, why did you do that? Right? Also, you wouldn't just get in your car, drive around in circles for a while, and then come home. That doesn't make any sense either. But see, that's what happens with millions and millions of people. Number one, they don't know why they're going to where they're going. And number two, they don't have a destination in the first place, right? That's called driving around in circles, which millions of people are doing. The second is you go to the grocery store and you don't know why you're there. right? So that's why it's really important. When you go to the grocery store, you know why you're going. Well, I need milk, eggs, bread, and cheese. Okay, that's what I'm going there for. I have a purpose. I have a, what I call a why to, right? That's your why to. My why to is going to here doing this thing. So what is it in your business? What is it in your life? What is it in your relationship, right? What is it in your health, right? Where is it in your life where your beliefs, where your habits don't affect you? Well, there's no place your habits don't affect you. There's no place your beliefs don't affect you. So that's why I call it your head trash. This head trash is what is keeping so many people stuck, meaning they are literally driving down the road of life with one foot on the brake. So imagine if you're driving down the road, you know where your destination is and you know why you want to get there, but you have one foot on the brake. At the same time, you have your foot on the gas. How long is it going to take you to reach your goal? Well, it's going to take you forever. You may never get there. And yet you're using all of this time, money, and energy. So here's what happens in this industry. And I want to point this out to everyone watching. This is so crucially important. I want people to get this. So guru number one comes up to you and they say, hey, you know why you're not reaching your goals? You need to put a better type of gas in your car. This gas isn't good enough. Put this really expensive gas in. So you go to the gas station, you put expensive gas in, but you're still doing the same habit. So you get the same result. Guru number two comes along and they say, you know why you're not reaching your goals? You need to get a new set of tires. These tires aren't good enough. Use these really expensive tires. So you go to the tire store, you buy these really expensive tires, you put them on, you get back in your car, you're doing the same habit, you still get the same result. Guru number three comes along and they say, you know what you need? You need a new car. This car isn't good enough. Get this really expensive sports car. And you're like, all right. I mean, I kind of like my car. I didn't really think I need to get a new car, but you buy a really expensive sports car. You're spending more money. You get back in the car. You're still doing the same habit and you still get the same result. So by now you're very frustrated. You spend all this money and time and effort and you're still not getting what you want. So here's what I do. I come in and I say, did you know you have your foot on the brake? And they're like, no. And I say, did you know if you get your foot off the brake, you can actually reach your goals a lot faster? And you're like, really? Yeah. So just do these few simple things. Just do these few, things we talk about and you can get your foot off the brake. Not only that, you'll reach your goals a lot faster, easier, and a lot less time and effort. And they go, where do I sign up? Okay. That's what it is in this industry. We've got a lot of people out there, gurus, who are saying, get new gas, buy new tires, buy a new car. You don't need it. You do not need it. What you do need, however, is to take out your head trash. Your head trash is that fear, that foot on the brake. And if you go to my website, as you mentioned, Brandon, when you go to my website or anybody, when you go to the website, you'll see that is exactly why my clients have literally, and one of the things we talk about now is I help people make more in 12 weeks than they made in the previous 12 months. Because think about this. Just think about it again. If you just simply get your foot off the brake, aren't you going to reach your goals faster? I'll give you a quick example. We had one client named Sheila. She was making $5,000 a month. She was working really, really hard. She was a self-employed business owner, entrepreneur, making $5,000 a month. She spent tens of thousands of dollars on everything else out there, all the gurus, and she was still, $5,000 a month. Now that's not bad, but she knew she could do a lot better. She hired me as her coach. I worked with her for about 12 weeks. In that 12 weeks, she went from making $5,000 a month to making $75,000 a month. $5,000 a month to $75,000 a month in 12 weeks. And you go, well, that's impossible. Watch the video. It's right there. These are real people, real stories. And she actually says on the video, you can watch this for yourself. Noah, I'm working less to make $75,000 a month than I was to make $5,000 a month. And when you look at it in this way, even though it sounds impossible to some people, you go, well, that's not possible. It is totally possible once you get your foot off the brake. If you stop stopping yourself from success, doesn't it just make perfect sense?
It does. It does. And Panda, I appreciate the idea here, but I don't think that's what Noah's going for. Don't just take your foot off the brake, go through the grocery store and grab what you need. Good way of trying working it there. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. On your website, you have the 10 most popular topics for media. One of the things we do here is on Mondays, we talk about mental health. And the one that caught my attention right off the bat was how to turn a bad day around in 7 minutes or less. Would you mind teaching us a little bit about that today for the people about with mental health issues wanting to turn their day around?
Yes, absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up. Great point. Okay, so think about what a bad day is. All right, let's just analyze it. What's a bad day? It's a day you think is bad. There is no such thing as a bad day. It's your perception. Every day is a day here on earth. You're alive. You're breathing. You get to see, hear, feel. I mean, we exist. Okay, you're here. There's a lot of people that aren't here. All right. So if we just start with that one thing, all right. So that's number one. Number two is, why is it a bad day to you? Well, it's because you're focusing on what you don't have, right? Now, isn't it easy for all of us to focus on what we don't have, right? Oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, I don't have the time. Oh, I'm not in the right relationship. Oh, my business isn't growing. Oh, whatever, right? Oh, I'm not the weight that I want. I'm not as healthy as I want to be, right? We can easily focus on what we don't have or what we lack. However, When you focus on what you don't have, what do you get more of? The experience of not having, right? What you focus on grows. So if I keep sitting here focusing on what I don't have, what I haven't done, all of my regrets, all of the things that I lack, I instantly can depress myself in about 10 seconds, right? I mean, we can all do that, right? So what do? You do the third step, which is you just flip it around and you start to ask, why am I so grateful? Again, we're using my Afformations method. You go to Afformations.com, join the Afformations Advantage program, Afformations.com, or get this book on Amazon. Anyway, so Afformation would be, why do I have so much? Why am I in the right place at the right time? Now, when you use my Afformations method using the process that I share, the point is your brain instantly starts to focus on what you have, right? Now, when you focus on what you don't have, what do you get? More of the experience of not having. When you focus on what you have, what do you get? The experience of having. Now, that doesn't mean $1 million instantly shows up in your bank account. It doesn't work that way. Oh, why do I have so much money? Oh, look, $1 million just showed up. No. That's called magical thinking, right? That's what they taught you in The Secret. And thank you. Yes, that's my YouTube channel there. You can go to watchnoahtv.com. Thank you. And I've got 800 plus videos on there about, these topics and more. But my point is that when you focus on what you have, that will change. Literally, it switches your brain. It switches from I don't have to I have. Okay. By the way, and just another real quick thing you can do, every single one of us can do this. Everyone watching this can do this right now, is breathe. I know that sounds so dumb and stupid and simple and obvious, but it's so true. When you breathe improperly, you are actually setting off the fight or flight response in the body. Right? Now, the body leads the mind, just like the mind leads the body. Yes, that's my Afformations.com, Afformations.com right there. Thank you. And so the point is, when you breathe properly, and what does properly mean? It means you breathe in through your nose for about 5 seconds, hold it for 3 to 5 seconds, a count of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then breathe out through your mouth. You can literally instantly feel more relaxed. So literally, it doesn't even take 7 minutes. It takes about 30 seconds to change from a bad day to a good day if you follow my instructions.
So after the breathing and all that, and you have done your affirmations, what will be the next step to do? Let's say, like for in case I won't be able to afford your services. I am rich. Let me just put that. Let me not make myself poor, but I won't be. What advice do you have, and some easy pointers that you can help someone if they do not have the finances to get you as a coach?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, watchnoahtv.com. You can do that. That's free. Okay. Again, you should also go to Afformations.com, join the Afformations Advantage. But basically, action beats everything. In other words, what I mean by that is action beats thinking. So a lot of people watch the movie The Secret, right? We all remember that movie, The Secret. And what they said is, well, if you think about money, money just shows up magically. How's that working for you? No, I don't know what planet, that works on, but it's not the Earth, right? On the Earth, we have to do this annoying thing called work. We have to do this annoying thing called take action. Again, I use the house analogy or the car analogy. If you just think about driving your car, you're not going anywhere. If you think about building a house isn't going to magically show up. And so action beats thinking. I would rather see the person take one positive action today than think 1,000 positive thoughts. Not that positive thinking is wrong or bad. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not enough. We have to take action. So I'm always going to subscribe to action. I'm always going to say, just take one step a day, one baby step. And you say, well, what step should I take? Well, what do you want? Right? We always go back to what do you want? A lot of people say, no, I want to, write and publish books like you do, like you help your clients do. I want to have an online course, or I want to sell online courses like you do. I want to be a coach like you are, or whatever it is. I want to do network marketing or real estate or Bitcoin or crypto or whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. So what is one action you can take today? Now, the problem is that there is so much information out there that people are living in information overload. We don't live in the information age. We live in the information overload age. All right. We passed the information age 20 miles back. And so the point is we are in overload. And so you can watch YouTube videos for the next billion years and still never do any. So yes, YouTube is a great place to start to get free information. But what if information was enough, we'd all be rich, happy, and thin, right? Information is not enough. Information does not create transformation. Information can be the first step, definitely, but information does not cause transformation. What causes transformation is action. What stops action? Oh, I don't know. Head trash. Isn't that funny how it all comes back here? All right. Again, send me a book, Noah. Get this book for free. Get rid of your head trash. The head trash is the thing. And by the way, it's not just negative thinking. It's not just doubting yourself. It's not just saying I can't do it. It's all those things, but it's much deeper than that. So you've got to understand what head trash really is so that we can start to use my rapid abundance programming, my RAP method, to really take out that head trash. Okay. My point is that one action a day will beat 1,000 thoughts a day. Just one simple action. One action could be, again, getting this book, signing up for my newsletter. That's an action. If you can't hire me yet, well, watch some of my videos, read a book. I mean, when I had no money, when I was $40,000 in debt, I hung out at the library a lot. Now, a lot of people don't go to the library anymore. YouTube is the new library. I get that. It's fine. I just like books, but it doesn't matter. You can watch videos. The problem is we can get into overload really, really quickly. And of course, it's hard to know who to trust. There's a lot of lying sociopaths out there. And so, you got to be careful. I spent over $500,000 on all those gurus out there only to find out they can't teach their way out of a paper bag. They were no help. They were great self-promoters, but they didn't help me at all. And so it's hard to know who to trust. So you've got to really do your research, find the right coach, the right mentor for you. If you have to start with a book, start with a book. If you have to start with YouTube, start with YouTube, but take one little step every day towards your goals and get rid of your head trash at the same time.
So Dr. Noah, as I'm just calling you now.
Well, I am that. I do have a PhD. So yes, I am a doctor. I just don't put that in the thingy, but yes, I'm a doctor.
Perfect. And I'm calling you that just because I like the way it sounds. I love it. So have you noticed a pattern with people with that head trash? Like a lot of people suffer from the same, whether it's negative self-talk, all those different things. Have you noticed a pattern of it? And because of our wide viewing audience, can you give us a tip of helping us just smash that out of ourselves?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. So everybody's different, but everybody's the same, right? So the point is human nature hasn't changed in thousands and thousands of years. It ain't going to change anytime soon. So, it is very common for people, especially ironically, sometimes the most talented people are the ones who doubt themselves the most. Meanwhile, the people who suck at things totally believe in themselves. I don't understand that. I've never understood that. But, I call it the American Idol syndrome. If you ever watch that show, American Idol, right? The people who can't sing worth a dime are the ones who say, I'm the greatest singer in the world. I'm like, no, you suck. Really? I mean, that is, but the ones who are great, they like are really shy. And I'm like, why? It's crazy. It's insane, but anyway, I can't. Anyway, my point is, so for those of you watching, if you're feeling, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of I can't do it, or I'm not good enough, know that you're probably really good, right? But you just need an objective third party, right? A coach, a mentor, somebody to literally believe in you, sometimes even before you believe in yourself. That's one of the things that I've done for my clients like Sheila. I'll give you another great example. I mean, I was speaking at a seminar in Los Angeles and a man came up to me. I was speaking for about 1,000 entrepreneurs, business owners. These are 6-7-figure earners. And I just finished speaking. I was walking off the stage. A man came up to me and he grabbed me practically, and he said, Noah, I want you to be my coach. You are the coach I've been looking for. I want to hire you. And I said, okay, well, what's going on? I literally didn't know this man from Adam. Ironically, his name was Adam. And I said, okay, I'm not making that up. Anyway, he says, no, I'm totally stuck. I'm only making $4 million a year. Of course, I had to laugh, right? I'm like, well, that doesn't sound like a big problem, right? A lot of people like to be stuck at $4 million a year. And he goes, well, no, Noah, you don't understand. I opened this company. I own this company and we grew to 4 million in revenues really fast, but we have been plateaued for the last 4 years. For the last 4 years, we haven't grown at all. We've been flatlined. And he said, I've hired every guru out there. I've hired all these guys. He named every guru out there, all the marketing guys, all this stuff, spent all this money. And he said, we're still stuck. And he said, as soon as I heard you speak about head trash and foot on the brake and Afformations, everything you just said, he said, I knew you were the coach I've been looking for. So he literally hired me on the spot. I worked with him for about 2 years. In that 2-year period, his company went from 4 million in revenues, being stuck there for the last 4 years, to over 20 million, literally a 6 times increase. And you can watch his video as well. My point is that for those of you who are feeling like you're stuck or you're feeling like, you're working really hard, not getting the result you want, people say, well, Noah, I'm not making 4 million a year. I'm not making $1 million a year. How does that help me? Well, the point is I've had people say to me, Noah, I'm totally stuck. I'm only making 40,000 a year. I've had other people say, Noah, I'm totally stuck. I'm only making 400,000 a year. I've had other people say, no, I'm totally stuck. I'm only making 4 million a year. So whether you're making 40,000, 400,000, 4 million, it doesn't matter, right? If you have head trash, you've got to take it out. You've got to do whatever you need to do, right? Read my books, hire me, whatever you need to do, take my online programs, whatever you need to do to take out that head trash. The first step, however, is awareness. The first step is awareness. That's why I love doing programs like this, because a lot of people never heard of head trash, never heard of Afformations, never heard of Noah St. John. I get that. So the point is you got to go, oh, wow, am I holding myself back? Yes, probably, and then we could take the steps to take out that trash and get you on your way to your goals much faster and easier.
So you use the the word head trash quite often, but you say it's not only negative thoughts and everything. What else falls under head trash?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it really can take a lot of different forms. So some people really don't want to. In fact, I'll give you an example from my own life. All right. So when I first discovered all of this stuff back over 2 decades ago, right, when I started writing my very first book, Permission to Succeed, back in 1997, I realized that I was holding myself back because I didn't want to be more successful than my father. Now, my father, he and I had, not now, but we have had a very complicated relationship all my growing up. I thought he was jealous of me. I thought he, didn't want me to be successful. I thought a lot of different things that turned out to be wrong. And so the point is, it was because I am a very sensitive, a highly sensitive person, an empath, some would say, or an empathic person. And so I would read these signs that, I really most of the time read them wrong. Okay. And so the point is, I was holding myself back in order to not have my father be jealous of me. And so when I realized that, I actually called up my father and I said, Dad, would it be okay if I was more successful than you? And you know what he said? He said, of course I want you to be more successful than me. And we had a really, really nice talk about that. And since I've shared that story in my first book called Permission to Succeed, I've had thousands of people from around the world tell me that story changed their lives because they had a similar relationship with their father or their mother. And meaning they were unknowingly, unconsciously holding themselves back from success. Now, here's what I want people to realize. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, wow, this looks like a beautiful day. The birds are singing, the sun is shining. You know what? I think I'll hold myself back from success today, right? I mean, that would be insane. No one would ever do that. Why? Because that's a conscious thought, right? And so the human mind is like an iceberg. There's only 5% that's above the surface at the conscious level. The vast 95% is in the subconscious below the surface. So all those years that I was holding myself back, that I was suicidal, I didn't know what I was doing or why. So I didn't have a conscious thought. Conscious, another word for conscious is choice. When you have a conscious thought, that means you have a choice about it. But if it's in the subconscious or unconscious, you don't have a choice, right? So one of the big things that we do, and one of the big reasons that we've helped people make so much money, lose weight, find love, improve their relationships, become healthy, have better wellness, and so forth, is because we're taking those beliefs, those negative beliefs, that head trash that has been in the subconscious, and bringing it to the conscious, and then you can make a choice. And that's one of the reasons why we help people make more in 12 weeks than they have in the last 12 months, because for really their whole life, they've been unknowingly, unwittingly, unconsciously holding themselves back. So once you become conscious, you can make a transformation, and that's when your life starts to change very, very quickly.
Dr. Noah, this has been, I have to say, what a way to start the week. For real, you came in and you didn't just hit a home run. You hit a grand slam with nobody on base. For real, I don't know how you did it. But you have Dr. Noah, and he's also a saint. So realize Mother Teresa is one of those people that he looked up to as a child, and look what happened, The way we end every show is we actually speak a positive affirmation.
I'm thrilled to be here. It's been a pleasure and an honor. And I just want to remind everybody to, again, visit Afformations.com and send me a book, Noah.com. We've got lots of free resources for you. And I just want to say that I want to give you 5 words that really changed my life many years ago, over a quarter century ago. And that is, give yourself permission to succeed. Give yourself permission to succeed, because when you give yourself permission to succeed, that means you will give others that same permission. And that is how we can raise the consciousness of the earth. And together, working together, we can really change the world.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Noah.
I love it.
Guys, have a good one. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.